Jordan Love is about to prove everybody wrong. Just like I said before the draft when he came out, I stated Jordan Love is a cleaner version of Patrick Mahomes. Now you might hear that and say, what the hell you mean a cleaner version of Patrick Mahomes? Meaning he can stand from the pocket with a cannon of an arm and not have to do all the fancy stuff that Patrick Mahomes does. Patrick Mahomes, and listen, what I'm saying is this is not a knock on Patrick Mahomes because he's a superstar talent with incapable abilities of the normal man playing his position. But when I say stand clean in the pocket, meaning Patrick Mahomes, he has the ability to just stand clean in the pocket if he wants to, but he likes to scramble and play street NFL street football. You know what I mean? Sometimes, which isn't a bad thing because it's good for the fans. It's exciting. He does it on purpose. He doesn't have to when he scrambles and throws on the run. He doesn't have to, but he does. And he has a cannon for an arm, so it makes it that much more entertaining, which is why he's already a young GOAT. Or he's already one of the greatest already at his age, this early in his career, because it's still early in his career. But when I say Jordan Love is a cleaner in the pocket cannon of an arm thrower than Patrick Mahomes, I mean, he isn't looking to scramble. His instincts isn't, okay, I don't see anything, scramble right away, which could be to his detriment at some point, but right now and currently is not, because he knows if I see a window open, I'm throwing it fast. I have that big of an arm to do it and get the ball out immediately. It's cleaner. I'm not saying it's better than Mahomes, but it's cleaner. But ironically, they play Kansas City this Sunday in Green Bay. So that'll be interesting if they can get Jamal, if they can get Adam Jones back. I was about to say Jamal Adams. I was about to say Jamal Adams. If they can get Adam Jones back versus Kansas City, that'd be good for him. But yeah, listen, I was high on Jordan Love when he came out of the draft, people. You know, when he came out of Utah State, I said that dude got a cannon for an arm. He got dealt a bad hand. His what was it? I think it was his second year. I think it was like his second year at Utah State. You know, it was a brand new coaching. I think it was like brand new coaching. They brought in a brand new staff because he spent 3 years at Utah State, and the third, I think it was his first year. His first year, the coaching staff was like mediocre, but his second season and his third season is when he exploded. You know, his second season he threw for over 3,500 yards, 32 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. You know, he had a passer rating of 158. And the longest ball he threw was 88 yards, or his longest touchdown, or the longest amount of yards, 88 yards. You know, that's the longest touchdown he threw, 88 yards long. And then in 2019, the following year, you know, he threw for 3,400 yards, 20 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. No, I think they brought in another coaching staff his third year, and his interceptions went up, but his passer rating was still good. His passer rating dropped, unfortunately, but it still was 129. But he was also sacked 20 times that year because everything changed. They lost a lot of O linemen. A new coaching regimen came in. He still the longest passing touchdown was 80 yards again. But like I said, he threw 17 interceptions and only 20 touchdowns, and he only averaged 7.2 yards per pass. And he had, like I said, but he still managed to throw 3,400 yards. It's just the pressure was up because of the lack of line. So he had 20 sacks and he threw 17 interceptions to 20 touchdowns. But you look at the season where the stars aligned for him, which was his second season, he had 3,500 yards passing 8.6 yard average per pass attempt, 32 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. But when everything was a disarray and a cluster in terms of his coaching, the team, the players that returned, the lack of recruitment, like I said, new coaching staff, he still had a decent season and a decent passer rating at 129, 3,400 yards, 20 touchdowns, but his interceptions were up. So he gets to the NFL, and he gets in the NFL. He goes in round one. He goes in round one to Green Bay, which I was mad about because I wanted the Lions to take him. But he goes to Green Bay at number 26. Everybody's, down on it. Wow, why did they take him? Da, da, da. But not knowing who he was because he played at Utah State. But the guy is 6'4", 219 with a cannon for an arm. And he's still only 25 years old. He's only 25. Green Bay possibly has another 15 years out of him. He's 25. So you got 5 more years till he's 30, and then his whole 30s, possibly, from 30 to 40. So you got at least another 10 years out of him. You can get out of him. And like I said, this is only his 4th season. He sat behind Aaron Rodgers for 3 seasons. But then you got to also look at when he was drafted. He was drafted in 2020. What was that? That was the COVID year. So his rookie camp, everything that the rookies normally do, he didn't get a chance to do in 2020, his rookie year. 2021, same thing, the COVID restrictions, a lot of things weren't necessarily in line for him to succeed, but also he was still backing up Aaron Rodgers. And in 2022, same thing, he backing up Aaron Rodgers. He played the bench. So his 4th year, he finally gets to start. He's starting. It got off to a rocky start, but so far, so good as of right now. As of right now, currently he has 2,500 passing yards, 19 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. QBR rating is bad, but that I expect that to increase as the season comes to an end, or as we near the season's end. I believe he probably finished the season with about 15 interceptions. He probably finished the season with about 15 interceptions and about 30 touchdowns. So 30 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, 4,000, over 4,000. I can see him finishing the season. What I'll say about 4,000 yards passing. I can see him finishing the season with 4,000 yards passing, about 30 touchdowns and 15 interceptions. Let me see what they have him projected to finish. Hold on one second. Okay, so they have him projected to finish the season. Like I said, projected. They have him projected to finish the season 4,000 yards, 29 touchdowns, and 15 interceptions. So that's what I said. I said his passer rating should probably go up. So they got his passer rating finishing at 87.4. Like I said, I was high on this kid. So, even if they don't beat Kansas City, which I don't expect them to, but I can see them winning that game versus Kansas City. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, that they don't. And they lose that game versus Kansas City. That'll put them at 5-7. Now, if you look at the remainder of their schedule, so if they lose to Kansas City, they'll be 5-7. Right? Now, if they lose to Kansas City, they'll be 5-7. Then they go on the road to play the Giants. They'll be 6-7. Then they're back at home to play Tampa Bay. They'll be 7-7. Then they're back on the road to play the Panthers. They'll be 8-7. Then they're back on the road to play the Vikings. They'll be 9-7, possibly. And then they're back at home, final game of the season, to play the Bears. They can finish 10-7. 10-7 in the NFC possibly will get them in the playoffs. So if they can manage to beat Kansas City which they probably won't, but if they could, because Kansas City is only a 6.5-point favorite in Green Bay. So if they can manage to beat Kansas City and keep their loss total at 6 losses and, win out the rest of the season, they could possibly win out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they can win out. If they beat Kansas City, they can win 6 straight games based on their opponents. That'll put them at 11-6 on the season and a playoff berth. So it's going to be interesting to see. Like I said, I believe in the kid, even though, he's in the NFC North, which is a rival team, rival division opponent. But, talent is there. Talent is good, And like I said, I believe that he can get the job done. And I believe Green Bay actually has a good quarterback. So we'll see.